Why have you come down to the Property Investor Show in London?
We've come down to the show to try and promote kind of the Enfield Let brand. We currently work with a lot of letting agents to try and procure our accommodation, and we actually want to reach out to landlords directly so we can try and cut our costs and actually start working directly with agents on a lease basis and a private rented basis.
So I'm assuming that you've got a lot of people requiring accommodation on your waiting list.
Yeah, we have 3,000, in excess of 3,000 families waiting for accommodation, or they've been assessed and in temporary accommodation. So probably around about 1,500 of those who are waiting to get out into the private sector. And we have a large number of tenants that are waiting for kind of permanent council properties that are stuck in kind of high price sort of nightly paid accommodation. So we're looking to try and sort of bolster up kind of our own stock of properties on long-term leases with landlords and agents if they can do us a good deal. So that we can place some longevity on those tenancies so people aren't moving around quite so much.
So are you looking for landlords that have properties specifically in your borough, or would you consider landlords further afield?
We are primarily looking for landlords in our borough because the people that apply to us for housing obviously have connections with the borough. We will obviously kind of, if a tenant actually says that they'd like to move out of the borough anywhere in the UK, we will assist them in doing that. We will actually contact agents, say for Blackpool for example, someone wanted to move there. We found a property in the area for them, paid a deposit and a month's rent in advance for them to move there. So yes, we'll assist them to move anywhere they want.
Now you are at the coalface of the housing needs in Cardiff. Do you ever feel, and I do trust this might be a little bit of a difficult question, but do you ever feel that there's a disconnect between central government and local government in the respect that there's policies coming out that actually deter landlords from investing in the sector or continuing in the sector, whereas you've got waiting lists and people in temporary accommodation? You desperately need landlords.
A good question, Vanessa, and indeed it is a difficult one for me to answer because, I am working for the local authority. But yes, there is difficulties in terms of central government policies, particularly welfare reform. And we're facing a challenge of universal credit on the horizon for us here in Cardiff. So that's going to deter lots of landlords from renting or to housing lots of our clients in the sector. And then locally, I think the Welsh Government are trying to set policies in place to improve the sector. Rent Smart Wales is good. It'll improve the sector hopefully, and we'll know and have the data of all the landlords in Wales, which is good. We've never really had that information before, and I think Welsh Government, this policy's intention is to improve the sector. So hopefully they can continue to do those things really.
And do you think?
A bit of a diplomatic answer.
No, I completely understand. Yeah. I'd put you on the spot there. Forgive me.
At the moment, with the social housing, there's not much properties on the social housing side of things. So we are here as free negotiators in the Croydon Council to canvass and get these landlords to help us give their properties to tenants that's in need, that's in B&Bs at the moment. Like we know that we've got about 736 at the moment, and every week more comes in, more forms come in. So if we're going to be waiting for the social housing side, we'll be waiting for a long time, and that's why we're here to ask landlords for help.
There's been this new tax regime introduced 2 years ago, which is now coming into effect, which is really detrimental to landlords and is deterring a lot of them from not only expanding their portfolios, but a lot of landlords are actually thinking of leaving the private rented sector because of this very onerous tax regime. Now, for you at the coalface, with 1,500 people in need of private sector housing on your waiting list, are you wondering, what's going on here?
Well, I mean, it works in two ways. Obviously, we don't want those landlords to leave the market because we need them to stay with us. But obviously, it could mean that other landlords maybe that want to stay in the market might pick up those properties. It might give us an opportunity to buy them ourselves. We have a housing company where we purchase properties as well. So it's not great for a lot of landlords to leave the market because it could create a huge homelessness problem for us, because if they exit the market, they're going to serve notice. Those clients could end up coming down to see us, and obviously we're going to have to rehouse them, and it's not going to be possible to put them back into the same properties. So it is a major issue and something we're kind of keeping a close eye on.